The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
When life shapes us, when love anchors us, when loss changes us, we are not left behind. We are carried forward, held by faith, rooted in purpose, finding our way. This is Carried Forward, a space for stories of resilience, purpose, and forward resolve. I have the sound turned off here, so let me get it feedback. Hi, welcome to Carried Forward. Today's conversation is something that we often don't talk about, or at least not talk about enough. It's not just grief in the early days, it's grief after some time has passed. And what does it mean to lose your husband, raise 3 daughters, and then carry love forward for 14 years? My friend Angie is here from Australia. Her husband Phil passed away from a battle with leukemia. This is a conversation about grief that didn't end. As we know, it doesn't. It's just changed over the years. And we're just going to have a conversation today about her life and what it looks like now and things that she's worked through and raising her daughters, and a little bit of the differences about Australia and the US, because we had the great opportunity to meet each other in Bali and then grow, I think, a great friendship from that. And we've been able to exchange kind of differences in our worlds and cultures and how grief is handled in different ways. So I think that's been really special. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about who Phil was and what you want people to know about him.
So he was larger than life. He lived life to the fullest. He helped everyone. He was friends to everyone. If you didn't know him, you soon would, and you'd be his friend. People were just attracted to him. He just had that personality.
Yeah.
He'd give the shirt off his back to a stranger. Loved a beer, loved to four-wheel drive and fish and camp, anything outdoors. He was a great mate, good husband, good father. He was always late. But yeah.
Everyone has, the things we love about him and the things that kind of annoy us about him, right? So what was the season like when he became ill? Because I remember you telling me like he was really strong and not only physical, but mentally. Yeah. And so I know just in my own journey, watching someone that was such a strong entity in your life kind of get weak and disease take over.
So he was always strong, never sick. So then he came home from a four-wheel drive event that he normally did on a weekend and came home. He sat down on the couch. He didn't unpack the car. And I'm like, that's unusual because normally he'd unpack the car. He just sat and said he was tired. And I'm like, okay. And then the next day we went to walk around the corner and he probably got 10 steps and was exhausted. And I'm like, okay, that's not normal. We're going to the doctor. So we went to the doctor. They did some blood tests. The doctor rang us the next day and said, you need to come here now. You need to get someone to drive you and you need to go straight to the hospital. So found out he had leukemia, and if he didn't go when he did, he would have passed. So
within just
couple days.
Yeah. So how long did he live with leukemia?
So he was 4 years with leukemia in remission.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did it affect him overall, like even in that 4 years?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
yes. He wasn't as strong. He got sick very easily. Um, he was a little bit grumpier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
His tolerance.
yeah,
Yeah. And I bet that was a change because you just said like he was
yeah.
all that
The
I've
life
heard
of the
about
party, he
Phil. Yeah, he
was.
was always the life of
Yeah,
the party and ready to go and
yep,
do something
yep.
and get out there and meet people. Which I will say that just meeting Australians. And I know Phil is probably even more so, but you guys are Australians are just amazingly friendly people. Like I've enjoyed like you and you're genuine.
Yeah.
The ones that I've met and I have met more than just
Yeah.
you, Ange, and your husband Jason now. But you they all seem to want to really have a
A
good
good time,
yeah, good
good time,
time
good
and good
conversation. Yeah,
conversation and yeah.
hospitality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that means a lot to me because I love that. Maybe I don't always come off as like, ooh, I'm super friendly and
yeah.
outgoing, but I enjoy good conversation. I
Me
enjoy
too.
friendship, and
Me too.
yeah, and I think that is one of the many things that brought us together and our kindred sister.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So Ange has three daughters with Phil, and uh, tell us a little bit about that, how grief looked for you as you raised your daughters and as Phil got sick, and uh, share with us what you would like.
Um, as Phil got sick and he was hospitalized, I was at the hospital most of the time. So I dropped my daughters to school and then I'd make my way to the hospital. My eldest daughter would pick up my youngest daughter and then I'd come home probably dinner time, make them some dinner, and then usually two of them would come back to the hospital and stay there for a few more hours and then go home and try and sleep and be exhausted.
And was that for 4 years?
No, he
Or
was
first
hospitalized about 8 months for the first year. And then when he had his transplant and was in remission, he was okay. He came home. And then when he used to go for checkups every month, and then it was 6 months, and then it was a year. And then the last checkup, they found that it came back. So then he was hospitalized again. So he was in there 6 months before he passed the last time.
Okay.
It was hard for one of my daughters. She didn't want to come to the hospital to visit him. She didn't want to see him sick.
Yeah.
She came a couple of times, but she talked to him on the phone.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, he changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard because I know as people age in my life, it's hard to see them change.
Yeah.
And so then with her, it's her dad,
Yep.
and
He
sick,
was strong and he's sick,
yeah,
and then he's, yeah,
and she didn't
different.
want to see him like
No.
that. Yeah, that makes sense, and it's hard though. It's hard as a mom, probably.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. Like it was hard for you to see that as a mom.
Yeah, definitely. And to try and be there for the girls as well. I feel like I wasn't there enough for the girls because I was there looking after Phil. So,
Yeah.
and trying to pretend that everything's okay and it's normal and it's not normal.
Yeah. Yeah, I do know. Because you try to make like a very strange
Like it's normal.
situation. Yeah,
Normal.
like this is
Yeah.
just how
Yeah.
life goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. With inside,
Yeah.
you're because I had that with Angie
Yep.
and with Athena. I tried to make it seem like, oh, this is
Yep.
just
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So I understand
Yeah.
that. And it is hard to keep that balance because as the mom,
Mhm.
it's not normal,
No.
but you're trying to make
Yeah,
it.
you're trying to make it okay for the kids.
And so you talked about your one daughter that was a little bit hard for her to go to the hospital, and your other two daughters, did they grieve differently?
So my youngest daughter used to come with me a lot. So she saw him, through his stages of the illness. So she took on a lot. they grew up too fast, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
through illness, you know, they
Yeah.
grew up too fast.
I think I know with Athena, it takes away some of their naivety,
Yep.
like, you know, or the, I don't know, it takes away that childlike wonder
the
and
innocence
like
and
innocence
yep,
and makes
definitely.
them realize like even as you've watched your daughters get older in the last 14 years. I know we've talked about this before, like her daughters and my daughter Athena, we see like
There's a
that it,
sadness.
yeah,
There's a
the
sadness.
sadness and then the innocence of
Yep.
just like when we were young,
Mhm.
like in our early 20s and teens, like I don't know, like we had the zest for life
Yes,
and like
yes.
things were just going to
Yeah,
work
yeah,
out and you know you're just kind of do
yep,
things maybe haphazardly and probably with failure like
yep,
and I know with Andy you just like it was just like life was just going to happen.
yeah,
But I know with Athena, and I've heard
yep,
you speak about your daughters, they're a lot more cautious,
yes.
a lot more like
Protective too of
protective.
us, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So, and for me, that hurts my heart. I know
Yep,
with Athena and I know with your girls.
definitely.
And it's just, I think something that does take time for us to see, like after we've gone through kind of our grieving and figuring out what are we going to do now that they're not here and like, okay, our daughters are, we need to help them. And then we see them and it's just innately, they just, life is not as whimsical.
Yes.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
as joyous anymore, you know.
Right. And
Yeah,
they just, life is serious.
yeah.
And
Heavy.
and I think that's because they've faced hard things like
Yes.
death and know that bad things can
Yeah.
happen. And that I know, like we've talked about this a little bit, it kind of hurts our souls because it's wonderful to see your children just, even if they're making mistakes or
Yeah.
whatever, but it's good to see them just kind of live life like they're,
A little bit
yeah,
carefree and not
carefree.
have the weight of the world on their shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but our daughters don't do
No.
that. And it's, I don't know, it's hard to watch
Yeah.
because I know what it used to be like to be kind of carefree.
And that's what you want.
Yeah, and that's what you
Yeah.
want for them. But there's no way for us to take that
No.
away. Like we didn't
No.
cause it
No.
really. We might have contributed
Yeah,
a
a
little,
little.
yeah. but we didn't cause it. But it's hard to watch them like. But then on the flip side of that, because it's not all bad.
No.
On the flip side of that, I do see Athena be more cautious and make good decisions. Um, that maybe peers that haven't faced situations like her don't take it seriously.
Yes.
So there is a good
there's
and like
yeah.
there's a good side to it because they do take things seriously. But then on the kind of sad side of
Yeah.
it is like
They're not
they don't
free.
have that free
Yeah.
and like we can just do whatever and it's all going to work out, right?
Yes, there's caution.
Right, there's definitely caution. So there's a lot of common ground there that we have with just our daughters, but there's a little bit of different ground because we live in two different countries. I've been fortunate to visit Ange in her home country, and she allowed me to stay with her and her new husband Jason, and it was so wonderful. And now Ange is here at my place staying, and I'm excited. I've been showing her around Texas.
We love Texas.
Yeah, it's been fun. But in that realm of thinking, Australia is a little different when it comes. Well, you've expressed to me a little in regards to grief and widows and even widowers, I suppose. So talk a little bit about that, the difference that you've seen.
I don't think there's as many community groups for widows or organisations for widows I mean, we have a couple, but where you physically go and talk to other people, it's not really done.
Yeah.
We have a First Light Widow organisation that's pretty good.
First Light.
Yeah.
Is it
So
all
I
over
think
the
it's similar
country?
to your Camp Widow. It's similar
Okay.
to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had to go on Facebook to find someone that I, could share similar experience, and that's when I found Michelle from One Fit Widow.
Yeah, One Fit
Yeah.
Widow.
Yeah.
And that's how Ange and I met.
Yeah.
Was on
One Fit Widow
One
trip.
Fit Widow trip in Bali, and we started talking and connected, and I think we have kindred spirits.
I think so.
Yeah, and it's just been beautiful. Like I met her in January of 2024, and then I talked to her about visiting Australia because I was going to Australia after that trip. And then Ange said she was serious about letting me come and visit her. And so at the end of the year in November,
Yep.
I went to visit. So,
Right.
and that was just Ange looking on Facebook and connecting with a widow group. Or One Fit Widow is not necessarily a
No.
group, but it's a social.
Yeah.
Michelle's a widow, and she's done really good for
Yeah.
the community of widows, getting us healthy and traveling
And life with a new partner.
life with a
Yeah.
new partner, and then just I think thinking about grief and widowhood in a more positive
Yes.
realm. So if you're out there, One Fit Widow is still out there. I
Yep,
think she
yep.
might have changed the
Yeah,
name.
she's still there.
She's still out there.
Mm.
And then they have
Yep.
Adventure.
They do adventures.
What's the name of their?
It's the
Sorry, Keith and Michelle. Adventure trips. Or, I don't know.
you'll see it on One Fit
Yeah,
Widow anyway.
it's on One Fit
Yeah.
Widow. So, and then they have an adventure travel company that they do wonderful trips, but super positive people that have formed something beautiful out of their grief. So,
Yeah.
and
Adventures.
brought many widows together,
Yeah.
like friendships and things like that. Just a few more questions. So in Australia, there are a few places that have support, but not abundance.
No.
Okay. And definitely not in person, you said. So it's more online.
I'd say it's more online.
Okay. And then so you feel like it's a little bit missing there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's like, it's like you got to get over it. Like, you should be over it. And
do you feel the culture itself is kind of like
move
forward?
get on with life, and it's like, she'll be right, mate. Let's let's get on with it.
We have that here too. People don't understand. Like, I think more with social media now, like there's more places to be.
Yeah.
But I do think that a lot of times people they don't know what to do with grief, right? They don't know what to do with the sadness. And they're like, well, aren't you over that yet? Or like, can we move forward?
Even the workforce, it's like they want you back. Like, come on, like,
okay,
they died. Let's come on.
Do you get time off at all?
About 5 days.
About 5 days. Okay, we do get a little more than that. But I will say that our society is similar in the fact that they do take a moment to like acknowledge and give you some time to grieve, but then they're like, okay, let's move on. Yeah. I mean, and by no means are we saying that you need to sit there and wallow.
No.
But like, there needs to be a little bit more support.
If you're not ready, then it should be okay. Like, we understand. And
yeah. And then I know it's been good for us and others that we've seen. Like just last week, I had the Beauty from Ashes, and they're here locally. And it's nice to get together with people that have got in person, that have gone through similar things, and like can talk to you about, kind of uncomfortable grief that other people that haven't lost spouses don't really understand. And even maybe some of our kind of humor
Yes.
that we have that other people are like,
What?
what? But so I mean, and it's a group that you don't want to belong to,
No,
but you're
you're
glad
glad
that
you-
it's
yeah,
there, right?
Definitely.
For sure. Because like meeting you, I probably would have never met you.
Yeah.
But it's been such a tremendous, wonderful getting to know you and sharing time with you, and you being able to come over here to
And
America
to
and me
us.
going to
Yeah.
Australia. You already talked about this a little bit, but what do you feel like in the US that is a little bit different? You said that we do have more support.
Yeah, I
right?
feel like you have more support,
Okay.
more community.
And just talking to some of the widows that are like in the Beauty from Ashes, it's a little limited here. I think it's growing more. But I would say based on talking with you, we do probably have a little bit more like, because I recently went to a retreat in Florida where it was songs in the night, and then Crowns from Ashes. It's a group. They're two nonprofits, mentioning them, and they're beautiful, and they come together, and they bring widows together in a faith-based organization and do retreats. And then I'm in a group that we meet weekly, and that will be for a year. So that is nice. I think a lot of it does have a tendency of going towards being online.
Yes.
And then smaller
Yeah.
aspect has in person. But I mean, it might be nice to start that in Australia. Like maybe you think you would have many people, or would they be like,
I am a member of an Australian young widows group, and they do hold like luncheons and stuff. And I've done a couple of like coffee meetups in our local area, and I've met some lovely other widows, but it's like few and far between.
okay.
Yeah.
So in both countries, we could probably do a little better in supporting our widows and widowers.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about how grief has changed over time, if you want.
Right.
So it's been
14 years. Time has been like the best healer, I think. Like everything just takes time.
Okay.
The grief that, the initial grief that's really intense and stuff lessens a lot for me anyway. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. So it lessens just with time, or is it with time and you kind of
Also,
processing
yes,
it?
processing and working on myself
Yeah.
as well. Trying to think.
What are some things that you've done during this time to kind of help you? You've connected with
Other widows. Read lots of books.
Okay.
Um,
Any recommendations out there for anyone? or
well, I
book
like the Let Them Theory book.
to let
Mel
them-
Robbins.
Oh, Mel.
She's good.
Okay.
Like,
Let them.
yeah,
Yeah,
let everyone.
that's true.
Um,
People that don't understand, just let
Yep,
them
yep.
think.
It's their problem,
Was there any a book that in the early days that you remember that helped you?
I can't even remember. I read that many.
Okay. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't cry anymore like I used to.
yeah,
Yeah.
crying's
you know,
okay though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to like every day. Now maybe it's, anniversary or a birthday or something, I'll shed a few tears and then I'm like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
And now, as the years have gone on, has it changed for your daughters too, the grief? I've noticed changes with my
Yes.
Athena.
Yes,
so.
I think it has. Although my eldest daughter still is very closed off.
Mm.
I
We
think
all
it's still hard
process
for
things.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other two, yeah. Yeah.
You think they've
I think you get
got
better at
to a
coping with it.
better
Yeah.
space?
Yeah. I think you get better at coping.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always like to think that so that the grief doesn't get smaller.
No.
We get kind of
Yes.
bigger to be
Yes.
able to
Yep.
handle it.
Yeah.
That's how I like to think
Yeah.
of it because it's still there.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't go away.
and if you like let it come up, then
Yep.
it's just as deep
Yep.
and as much.
Yep.
Just those out there that have
Yeah.
not lost someone like a spouse, like that grief is still as big as it
Yep.
was when it first happened.
We just carry
We
it
just
better.
carry it
Yeah.
better, and it's
Definitely.
yeah. And I think that goes for our children too. They just become older and have different ways of handling things
Yeah.
and processing things and seeing.
And you get used to them not being there, like, you know.
You do,
Yeah.
yeah, you do. And so, but some days it hits you,
Mhm.
especially when you're going through something that you know that they could
They
help
could
you
help.
with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And then it kind of
yeah,
like
it's like, yeah.
we were talking about how our daughters have changed a bit, and we've changed a bit, getting better at holding it. It doesn't get smaller. Um, do a lot of people I mean, I'm 10 years out, so not far behind you. Do you feel like some people, you mentioned it before, like just get over it? And what do you say about that?
I don't think you ever get over it. It's a part of you. It's a part of your story.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like you just cope better.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I agree with that.
Yeah, I
It's just
don't ever get over it.
right. Because they were so much part of our
Yeah.
lives and part of who we are.
I mean, I still bring my dad and that I was at 12, like,
Mm,
you know, just, yeah,
yeah.
you learn to cope better.
Yeah. And things happen that, as your life changes, I think you change. Because we both said that we're not the same
No.
people that we were. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not good, but it's just what it is. And I agree, you don't get it, it's not something that you get over it. So, and I really don't think many people voice like get over it,
Yeah.
but maybe they
Think it. You should
think
be over it
it,
by
or
now.
yeah,
Definitely. And 14 years out, oh, you definitely
Yeah.
should be over it.
or like treat you
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
that was
the
so long ago.
yeah. And I mean, and just fact being is that nobody ever gets over it. It just changes a little bit and you get better at holding it. And if you're lucky enough, you find someone that understands that part of you
Accepts it.
and accepts that. So talk a little bit about Jason, her new husband, Jason, which will be on my next podcast interview. Talk a little bit about that. Has that helped any? Does it sometimes make it harder? Share what you want to share, but those are questions of my
Okay.
mind.
So we've been together 13 years.
Okay, 13 years.
We got married in 2020.
COVID time.
Yeah, COVID time. Just before COVID. So it's he's definitely helped heal my heart because I believe that you have room for more than one love.
For sure.
And your heart expands. It doesn't unless you want it to close up, but for me it's expanded. He's helped me heal so much. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
And is that just, you share a little bit about that? Like, how has he helped you heal? And just because, inquiring minds like me want to know.
So, just like he knows when I'm sad, he knows when I'm, grieving or having a bad day. He's supportive, he's accepting, he's loving. He knows that I've had a life before him, and he doesn't try and diminish the love I had for Phil.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I don't love him anyway. In fact, I love Jace more because I know how precious,
We talked
that's
about
someone.
that. Yeah. Recently we talked about that because and we both agree, once you've lost someone, you know what it feels like to lose a love. So your depth of love that's available to you, and your awareness, your self-awareness,
So much
that's what,
deeper. Yeah.
is so much deeper. So it's not necessarily like she loves Jason more
No,
than Phil.
No.
It's that she has more of awareness
Yes.
of her love
Yeah.
for Jason than she did for Phil. And I get that 100%. Yeah. Very much so. So, even though I don't have a new husband, I have had loves
Yes.
after Andy, and the awareness and
Yes.
deepness of that
Yeah.
particular love is very real.
Because you know it's not going to last forever. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know it can be taken
Yes.
away with
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I say I'm blessed.
Yeah. Agree. So, what would you say to someone um, in their early days of grief, with all that you've experienced? What?
Okay, I would say that time is the greatest healer, even though it doesn't seem like it at the time, that the intensity of your emotions are going to lessen. It will get lighter. To be kind to yourself, to do whatever you need to get through each day until you start feeling better. And it's okay to laugh. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to love again. Your partner wouldn't want you grieving them forever. They want you to live.
That's true.
They want you to be okay.
That's true. Because they love you. And
Yeah. They want you to be, Phil, that's all he wanted was me and the girls to be okay. That was all he wanted. And we're okay for the most part.
Yeah.
You have your days, your moments.
Yeah.
But it does get easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So just main message, hang in there. It does get a little bit lighter.
And don't listen to anyone else's opinion. Do what you want to do.
Okay.
You know, there's people that are very judgmental, and especially when you move on with someone else, it's like,
okay,
you know,
okay,
you lose friends, and yeah, because they can't accept that.
Okay. Well, that's good advice. Thank you. Because yeah, a lot of people don't accept your choices and
Yes.
your reality,
Yes.
even when they haven't walked in
No,
your shoes.
definitely.
And that's what I always tell when people start speaking things that they have not experienced or walked through. I'm like, you gotta wait a minute, like, because even when you have walked through similar shoes, it's never the same. So give it time and we'll get lighter.
Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself and do what makes you happy.
Yeah, you got to find.
Don't listen to others, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Thank you for having us. It was so nice to meet you and get to know you. It's been wonderful.
It has.
Yeah.
And we will continue to get to know each other because I'm coming back to Australia and they're going to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have lots more things to show you.
Well, we've got more to show you.
Yeah. So, but just as a closing, grief doesn't stay the same. As Ange has mentioned, it shifts, it softens, but it never really leaves, as we both mentioned. And it doesn't get smaller. It's there. We get better at holding it. And love doesn't disappear either. Like just because she now loves Jason doesn't mean that her love for Phil went away. And I think people get that, but just to reiterate that, like love stays with you even when you, like for me, I've lost love after Andy's love stays with me, and then even the love that I had with the relationship that didn't work out, it stays with me on some level too. It just finds a way to live in us and through us, and hopefully we do positive things with it, like make this podcast or help others. Ange has helped me and helped many others in your family. You've helped them deal with loss. So I think that love makes us stronger and able to deal with more. And hopefully we take that love and the losses and move forward with it in a positive way. Again, thanks for being here. This is Carried Forward. Just know that you're not behind and we're always moving a little bit forward, even if it's a small step. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you liked this episode and see you.
Thanks for for watching and listening to Military Broadcast Radio on Roku TV. If you missed today's episode, the podcast will be available on
and all major platforms shortly after we go off the air. We're here for you, not for us, giving veterans a voice. This is Military Broadcast Radio.